Now talking about the types of velocity, the first type of velocity is uniform velocity. If the velocity of the body does not change with time, it is said to be moving with uniform or constant velocity. What factors changes the velocity, we'll discuss them later. But, now talking about the uniform velocity, in other words, we can also say, a body is said to have uniform velocities if it undergoes equal displacements in equal intervals of time. Since displacement is a vector quantity, equal displacement implies that body is moving along a straight line path. If a body is not moving along straight line path, then its velocity is not uniform velocity. So for uniform velocity it is mandatory that body is moving along a straight line path or following a rectilinear motion. Thus a body moving with uniform velocity is moving with a constant speed along a straight line path. So if the speed also doesn't change and direction of motion also doesn't change, then only the velocity is known as uniform velocity, else not. Second type of velocity is non-uniform velocity. If a body undergoes unequal displacements in equal intervals of time, then the body is said to be moving with non-uniform velocity. Or it's also known as variable velocity. Now let's see, velocity is said to be variable in which cases. If the speed of the body changes, then the velocity is also changing. Velocity is associated with the direction. So if the direction of motion changes, then also velocity gets changed. And the velocity also gets changed if both the speed and direction of motion changes. The next type of velocity we are going to see here is instantaneous velocity. It is the velocity of a body at a particular instant of time. Let's understand it with this example. The car is moving along a curved path. The direction of velocity at this instant is shown by this arrow, denoted by vector v. It starts its motion anti-clockwise. And now the direction of instantaneous velocity at this instant is towards west. It continues its motion on that circular path, and if we talk about the direction of velocity at this instant is towards south. So it continues its motion and completes the entire circle, and we see the direction of instantaneous velocity changes on every point of curved path. So, the motion of this car might be moving with uniform speed, but as its direction is continuously changing, it is moving with a variable velocity, or we can say its velocity is non-uniform velocity. Now talking about the average velocity. Same as the case with average speed, in the case of non-uniform velocity we calculate the average velocity, which is defined as the total displacement divided by the total time taken to cover that displacement. Since average velocity is a kind of velocity, so its unit is also meter per second. In the case, velocity of object changes at a uniform rate, we can write average velocity as initial velocity plus final velocity divided by 2. Or we can say if a particle is moving with a constant acceleration. Acceleration we'll discuss later. So we can say if the velocity of object changes at uniform rate, we can define average velocity as the average of two velocities. One is the final velocity, other is initial velocity that was at beginning of motion. And final velocity which is at the end of the journey.